Keep listening to Toxic Radio all this month and you'll hear screams, growls, stories of death and dismemberment. And that's just the bands. At Toxic Radio, we do Halloween just a little bit harder. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch.
Saturday night is the loneliest night in the week.
Well, it doesn't have to be. Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the heavy metal happy hour with the one and only Fish Band.
I know that, dude.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Everyone get out!
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic. Guess what? Toxic Radio is going on a road trip.
Westbound and down, 18-wheeler rolling.
November 7th, we're crossing the river into Philly, and there's gonna be a party. Why a party on a Sunday in November, you may ask? What, are you new here? It's a football tailgate at Lincoln Financial Field for the Birds and Bolts matchup. Come out to see the Toxic Radio crew for fun, prizes, freebies, and shenanigans. Toxic Mike, Super Dave, John Evans, Mr. Entertainment, V. Godfrey, and Gene Walzak from the brand new Birds Deep podcast. Jimmy Page, Nicki Minaj, Martin Sheen, Kim Kardashian, Rover from Sesame Street, Rob Zombie.
Whoa! What the hell was that?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
That's it. No more coffee for you.
Fair enough.
So just the people from Toxic Radio, right?
Right. Got it.
Okay. Proceed.
And we might even get a special live performance from Supreme de Resurrecta. So join us at noon, Sunday, November 7th in Lot N, right across from Jetro. Don't do your tailgate safe. Do it toxic.
Welcome to show 54, Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I am your host, Gene Walzak, and to my left, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell.
What's going on, folks?
What's happening, Cottrell?
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Hey, listen, in Florida, I got Scholastic Shally out there representing PA at the USSA Worlds Tournament. They're going to kick ass. I know those guys down there. Listen, you got to stream it. You got to follow it. Those guys are playing softball down there out in Orlando, and they're going to kick ass. So I can hear them yelling in the background already. What's up, Shally?
What's going on, guys? They are. There's quite a few of them listening right now, so it should be a fun show.
Well, let's go. I see Cody on there already. What's up, Cody? Cody threw me out of a softball game. God damn it! I'm just kidding. I deserve it. I did deserve it. What's up, PK? All right, so let's get started. We got a ton to go over this week. We got NCAA college football. We're gonna go over pick 'em. We're not gonna do that as much as we normally will. Just a quick recap because we got a ton to get into. We got NFL. That will be a little bit shortened because the NBA season just started. The NBA season started. We got MLB playoffs going on. And, guys, we cannot, all you Ben Simmons fans out there or haters out there, we have a little Ben Simmons talk, too. We got to get into it all. And I don't even have time to stop and go over the rest of the show. We just got to get rolling.
Let's go.
That's what we got. So let me get started with this. College football does not have a ranked game this week.
Nope.
What they do have, though, is a couple interesting games, a couple the Notre Dame versus USC, the tradition game that no one really gives a shit about except people that went to Notre Dame or USC. I'm kidding, but what are your thoughts on Notre Dame and USC?
I mean, are you kidding though? Because at this point, that's kind of how it is.
It's an accurate statement this year.
The problem is this: in Notre Dame, USC, it's neither team is that good, but everyone went to Notre Dame. If you're Irish, you went to Notre Dame. It's like I'm a Notre Dame fan because I'm Irish. What are your thoughts on the game, Shal? I can hear them screaming in the background. Let me hear you.
They're excited downstairs. It's kind of funny. I mean, this is a game that doesn't have the luster that it usually does in a normal year. USC's been a little off for a couple of years now. Notre Dame, I know their ranking, but I mean, I don't think anybody really argue they're the 15th best team in the country this year. I am. Oh yeah, Tiny. I will. I promise tomorrow I will. I don't know. This is a game I usually want to be excited for. It is a rivalry game. It's a legacy game. They play every year. This rivalry has been going on just as long as Michigan, Ohio State, Auburn, Alabama, all those programs playing each other. But yeah, it's just really hard to generate any excitement for me this week. I think Notre Dame. I think they're going to start Jack Cohn. They are going to play both quarterbacks though. USC has enough of their own problems. I think. I don't know, man. It's such a tough game to break down. I mean, you look at K'Von Williams from Notre Dame. He's their best offensive player. They don't give him the ball enough. They throw the ball all the time, and they struggle moving the ball, which is just crazy to me.
Does it sound like somebody a Philadelphia team that you know about?
Yeah,
they don't give their player.
Okay,
just checking.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, very good comparison. And USC. I mean, USC's had games this year where they look like they're kind of like they want to go back to where they used to be, and they have the talent there to do it, and then the next week they'll come out and lay an egg. So I really don't know what to expect. I think Notre Dame is favored simply because they're home. I would expect Notre Dame to win. I won't be surprised either way which way this game goes. I'm certainly not picking it.
I am. I'm not picking it for one of my games, but I'm going to tell you who's going to win the game. I think USC is going to upset Notre Dame. Notre Dame stinks. They're terrible. They're not that good. They're the worst 15 team I've seen in years. Good, Charles, stop me.
I mean, I don't want to just completely disagree with you. I mean, I definitely agree Notre Dame does stink. But at the same time, I think Notre Dame is a better team than USC. USC is they play good this week and they play bad the following week. They play good this week, they play bad the follling week.
They're going to play good this week. It's at Notre Dame, right? Or are they playing neutral?
I think it's at Notre Dame.
It's at Notre Dame.
But
still think USC plus
this
7.
This is a weird game. I like Notre Dame to win. I think it's going to be somewhat close. I think Notre Dame wins by like 10 when it's all said and done. I think Notre Dame just has the better players. Like offensively, like Bill said, Kyron Williams is the great tailback for Notre Dame. And then on the backside, they got Kyle Hamilton, and he's one of the best defensive players in the country. So the two best players on both sides of the ball both play for Notre Dame, so I'll roll with Notre Dame in this one.
Shally, your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, I talked about Kyron Williams. I didn't bring up Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton's going to be a top 10 pick in the draft next year. The kid is he's an absolute bona fide stud on the back end of the secondary. Like I said, I'll roll with Notre Dame simply because they're home, and I think they're a little bit better. USC is even more inconsistent than Notre Dame is. So I'll take my chances with Notre Dame. I'll go 24-20 Notre Dame.
I'll go 24-20 USC, and I'll take them plus the 7.
28-17 Notre Dame.
So you're having them cover.
28-17.
Even Shally didn't have them cover. I'm just kidding. Guys, one thing I got to bring up this week, okay? I have to bring it up. Jeff said something on the wire line. Can you post that up? Jeff Perrone, I believe AP has Pitt 23. If they have Clemson ranked 25,
they don't.
Clemson stinks. Okay.
And the other poll, they have 20. I think Clemson's 24 and Pitt is 22. But the one poll doesn't. The AP poll doesn't have Clemson ranked.
Okay, so Clemson shouldn't be ranked to begin with. But what I do have to bring up is Kenny Pickett. Guys, we're talking about Heisman Trophy. No one's bringing him up.
Nope.
Statistically, he's the best quarterback in the nation. He just doesn't play in a huge conference, so he's not getting – but statistically, there's no one better in the nation. There's no one that's improved their draft stock more, period, this year. And he looks like a pro quarterback. It's funny because Bill brought him up last year on the show when we first started. I was going to pick Pitt, and then he was out for a week. And he goes, he's a pro-style quarterback. And Bill brought him up last year, and I remember him being out for the game, and I switched my pick that week. That was the morning I went live Saturday morning from work. Got yelled at for that. But no, but seriously, he looks really good. And if you haven't watched any Pitt games, watch the Pitt Clemson game. Because I think the better – if you would have said before the season started that Kenny Pickett would be better than DJ Ukulele, I know I say his name wrong.
And Spencer Rattler for that.
Oh,
for that
Jesus
matter
Christ.
at this point.
You see, he removed Oklahoma from his Twitter. Bro, it's nobody's fault but yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you are feeling yourself way too much, kid.
That's what
With
happens.
DJ, he's a redshirt freshman. He's got a couple years to grow into being the quarterback people wanted him to be. Spencer Rattler was no doubt about it, #1 quarterback coming into this year. Him and Sam Howell, and both of them played themselves completely out of the first round. Spencer Rattler, I don't even know if he gets drafted.
I don't think Hal has.
Spencer Rattler gets drafted for sure.
Later.
He gets drafted. He's not going to be a lottery pick anymore. I do remember bringing up Pickett last year. He's one of those guys that if you just look at size-wise, arm strength, arm talent, he's a guy that you could see being drafted and turning into I'm not going to say an elite quarterback in the NFL level, but could definitely be a very good, serviceable starter. I'd be really curious to see where he goes in the draft, what round he goes in, what team he goes to, what kind of system he goes to. And to your other point, I don't think DJ and Spencer are in the same situation either. I think DJ is going to be fine. I think Clemson just lost way more than. Yeah, I know. I'm saying I agree with you. I think they lost a lot more than people thought they did. And it's just going to be a little bit of an off year for them. Spencer Rattler has nobody to blame but himself.
Correct. I agree with you 100%.
He was given the keys to, one of the best offenses in the country with, we've all said it before, Lincoln Riley. If he's not one, he's one of the top 2 or 3 offensive coaches in the game, especially with developing quarterbacks. And he dogged it. He didn't play well. And Oklahoma is one of those teams, man. It's not like you have one 5-star quarterback on the roster. They got 6. So kid stepped up.
Everyone wants to play for Lincoln Riley, and it's been proven. Yeah. And, for Spencer Rattler to cry about it and remove Oklahoma from his Twitter and all that shit, that's embarrassing, bro. That's really, that makes me not like even more.
And if you're looking at it from a draft status, if you're going to be that soft and cry about it, it's not a kid I want to draft on my NFL team.
That's my point.
The kid's not going to come in and compete. I don't want to draft him.
I completely agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. Did anybody, before we get into it, because I at least have to talk about the game, did anybody pick Oklahoma State versus Iowa? Is that one of anybody's picks? Iowa State, sorry.
I didn't.
You didn't? Did you, Bill?
I did, but we can talk about it.
Okay, so
I mean, if we're getting ready to picks, we can just might as well do it now.
Yeah, let's do picks. Do you want to start? Did you have it?
I'll go with that game. Oklahoma State plus 6.5 versus Iowa State. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State on this. They're coming off the big win.
You can get 7.
The only thing I'll take 7.
That's unreal.
Yeah, it's up to 7. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me is coming off that big win and traveling on the road to go into Ames. Not the easiest place in the world to play. But I mean, who's been a bigger letdown off preseason rankings than Iowa State? These were people saying.
Control want to let me know? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh man, that's too early for that. That's a good. It's a good answer, actually.
That's a great answer.
It was for that fast. It was a good answer. But I mean, there's people that had Iowa State in the college football playoff. A lot of people had to win Big 12. And with what they had coming back with Hall and Petty and Matt Campbell was the next guy that's going to get the next big job, have it be USC, Michigan, wherever he was going to go. And they just simply haven't played well. It's just not the same team as last year at all. I don't know.
You know what the issue is with that team? I'm telling you right now, there's one huge issue with that team.
What do you think it is?
Brock Purdy. That's the issue with that team. He's just not playing in big games. He's played terrible in big games. He actually played terrible in so he's played terrible in they played 6 games. They're 4-2, right? He's played terrible in 3 of 6 games. Terrible. Like absolutely brutal.
See, my whole thing though, that game against Iowa, his numbers were a lot worse than what he played. There were a lot of tip balls in that game, kind of like obviously not to the same extent of Pat Mahomes, but there was a lot of tip balls that went for interceptions in that game, and I don't want to put that game completely on him, but yeah, he definitely hasn't been playing up to the standard of what, going into the season we thought he was going to be at, especially in the Iowa State offense.
On that game, though, you're 100% right. I think 3 of the 4 picks he threw were tipped, and kind of like Gene's been harping on with the Kansas City receivers. One or two hit the guys right in the hand. I think the other guy literally hit one off his helmet. Like there were balls that were catchable that should have been caught.
Patrick Mahomes has 8 interceptions this year, and 4 of them have went off receivers like directly in the hands or the face. It's in the face, you should catch it, right?
You'd think.
That being said, though, Iowa State's offense has not clicked all year. Has not clicked the way it was last year. Their defense is not as strong. I think Oklahoma State showed a lot of people, that they're somewhat legit last week with that game. That was one of my losses last week. I took Texas. I thought Texas was going to win that game, and they went in there. They went into Texas and handled business. You got to remember too, Mike Gundy's not a bad coach, man. He's not. I mean, he's been at Oklahoma State for a long time now.
I love Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy's got one of the greatest speeches of all time.
Top 5 press conferences ever.
I'm a man.
I'm
a man.
I'm 40.
I love that press conference.
So I will take Oklahoma State. If it's 7, I'll take the 7 on the road. I think they win outright, but if not, I think they definitely cover. I don't see Iowa State pulling away in that game.
Okay, give me your second one.
My second pick is. Are you talking about UCLA, Oregon?
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm picking that as well. So if you want to wait, you can come back to me when you get to that game if you want to do that.
I'm picking that game.
Okay, so we'll just do it now then. All right.
Yeah.
I'm taking. Last time I looked, it was 1.5, but I'm taking UCLA minus 1.5 at home versus Oregon.
They're +2 now. UCLA's +2.
Oh yeah, I have plus. Sorry, yeah, +2. I'll take +2. I think they're going to win the game. Oregon's strength is running the ball. UCLA has a very good run defense. Oregon has not been the same since they beat Ohio State. Hate to say it, they just haven't looked the same since they won that game. I know they have injuries, but I mean that's part of the game. You got to play with the kids you have on the field, and they're just not the same team as they were 5 weeks ago. I think it's a little bit of a weird revenge game for Chip Kelly. It's at home. UCLA is going to run the ball, which Oregon struggles stopping a little bit out of the two, rush or pass. They struggle against a rush more. UCLA has been very efficient running the ball with Zach Charbonnet this year, so I will take UCLA +2.
Okay, and your super dog?
I didn't like any of the super dogs this week, which sucks.
I
hit
love
4 in a
one.
row.
I love one.
I've hit 4 in a row. I'm not confident in this one at all, but I'm going to take Tennessee +24.5 against Alabama. I think they score enough points. Maybe I'm probably praying for a backdoor cover at the end of this. That's the one I'm going to take, though. I'll take
just
Tennessee
because it's nobody's. You got to be kidding me. I have to at least mention it. Listen, I've been on the Vols all year. I love the Vols and Buddy Lucas and those guys. That was despicable what happened in Tennessee. They should not listen. It was a bad call, bad spot, but you can't do that shit. You can't throw bottles and glass on the field. That was despicable, and it was very close to me. You got to be kidding me this week. The Vols fans for doing that. I get it. It's a big game. It's college football, guys. It's football.
What would happen if it was in Philly? That's all I'm saying.
That's my point.
We'd still be talking about it. We'd
Correct.
still be talking about it.
It's getting glossed over right now because it's Tennessee.
Yeah. And Lane Kiffin, handled that about as well as you could. And he still threw shade at them, which was funny at the same time. But yeah, it's to Gene's point. Again, you're getting that upset about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids playing football. You got to remember, you got to put perspective on what you're doing.
Yeah, and the funny part of that is, like, Lane Kiffin did them dirty, and Lane Kiffin is nobody's best friend. Like, everybody in Tennessee, he'll never have a place to stay or eat there. Like, they don't like Lane Kiffin. Obviously, he did them very dirty. If you remember what he did, he took the job and then quick and took the USC job, like, literally 3 weeks later after giving, like, a real rowdy speech and Rocky Top and all this shit, and then took another job. But with that being said, you can't do what you did. You can't throw bottles at the guy. The guy took a bigger job. USC is a bigger job than Tennessee. Like, I don't like him for it. I think you make a commitment, you make a commitment. But he had the opportunity to take a USC job. It's a bigger job. It's like me taking a job somewhere making $150,000 a year, and then someone offered me $250,000 a year. It sucks, but
Mm-hmm.
If it does happen, Tim Todd with 100% the post that, put that back up. That happens in Philadelphia. They're running it on every major news network, ESPN, and running it hourly.
Yeah, and we'd still be talking about it 5 days later.
All right, Cottrell, you've been hot too. You and Shally have been murdering college football all year. I need your picks, brother.
All right, so one of my picks is going on right now. Appalachian State over Coastal Carolina. I like Appalachian State +4.5. That game's tied right now, 14-14, and Appalachian State has the ball. My second pick is going to be NC State -3.5 at Miami. I think NC State is quietly one of the best teams in the ACC right now. They beat Clemson, which is, going into the season, you'd have thought that would have been a bigger accomplishment, but NC State's a legit team, and I think they're gonna beat Miami in Miami. And then my super dog for the week, I like New Mexico State plus 17.5 at Hawaii. So it's nothing about New Mexico State that just lights the world on fire, but I don't think Hawaii is that good. They're kind of like how USC is. They play good one week, they play bad one week. They play good one week, they play bad one week. So I'm banking on this being a week that Hawaii plays bad, and so New Mexico State goes in there and covers.
Hey, just check it real quick. Who's Ohio State play this week?
Indiana.
Where are they playing?
Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Indiana.
I know. My first pick, everybody's favorite whipping boy. My favorite whipping boy has been Vanderbilt all year. I'm taking Mississippi State minus 20.5 over Vanderbilt. Every week I get a chance to pick a game against Vanderbilt, I will pick it. They're the worst college football team. They're not worse, but they're really there. And every week they're going to get their ass beat. So I got Mississippi State minus 20.5 over Vanderbilt. Second game, I have the same game Bill picked. I have the UCLA Bruins outright. I don't +1, -1, +2, -2, doesn't matter. UCLA wins the game by more than 3, so it really doesn't matter. I got UCLA over Oregon. My super dog this week, I got the Indiana Hoosiers.
Oh, boy.
+21 over Ohio State. I think that it'll be a field goal game.
Ooh.
I think Ohio State's still going to win it.
Sweating.
I think Ohio State's still going to win it, but I think it's going to be a field goal game. I think Indiana's going to give them everything they want. That's it for picks. Let's get into NFL. NFL, there's only 2 games. There's only 2 games to go over this week. Really, only 2. There's a lot. I mean, we talk about Eagles, Raiders if you guys want. Talking about the Eagles right now is making me nauseating. It's nauseating talking about them, and they backdoor covered versus the Buccaneers, so I want a cheesesteak on that one. Thank you, Jeff Judge. But I want to start with Bengals-Ravens. Bengals are playing at the Ravens. Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. What are your thoughts on this game, Cottrell? I know you're the resident Lamar Jackson's number 1 quarterback in football, and he's proving you right. He's probably the leader in the clubhouse right now for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not 1, he's top 3 for sure. But right now, the Ravens team, it'll be interesting to see how they respond now that Ronnie Stanley's out for the year. So that's going to be a big blow for them. It's a tough divisional game. We kind of talked about this earlier this year. Whenever you're having these divisional games, it's really hard to judge. I think the Ravens are the better football team, but I'm going to go with I think the Ravens win a really, really tight one. Walk-off Justin Tucker field goal, just ugly AFC North football, 17-14 Ravens.
Shally, what are your thoughts on the game? 17-14? Hold on. You think it's going to be that low scoring?
Ugly AFC North football.
I get it, but the Bengals defense isn't that good.
Nah.
They step up for those
fair
divisional games.
I'd stop my thought track. Go ahead.
I was expecting Baltimore to be a little bit come off a little bit of a letdown after that comeback against the Colts, and they just came out and dog walked the Chargers last week, which I don't think a lot of people. I didn't see it coming. I thought they were very capable of winning that game, but not by that fashion. They dominated Herbert and the Chargers. I do agree with Cottrell. I think if Lamar's not 1, he's 2, and it's probably behind Kyler still. I think Kyler might have a slight nod with that just because they're undefeated and probably the best. Well, power rankings-wise, they're the best team in football right now. But Lamar Jackson's just balling out, man. He's playing out of his mind right now. And he's carrying that team. He continues to get it done. Whatever they need from him, he gets it done. And I think that's an attribute of a quarterback that's just as important as anything else. And he's continuing to improve. And that's, I think, maybe the scary part. I think we heard all the narrative this year. All those articles came out as the NFL caught up to Lamar Jackson, if they figured out how to stop him. And by the looks of it, it's a big fat no. So I don't think it's that low scoring. I do think it's a close game. I do think Cincinnati is definitely taking steps forward after that. The way they kind of finished the year last year without Burrow, they were starting to get a little bit better, and they're getting better now. They're playing better. They're more competitive. Like Cottrell said, it's a divisional game. I'll take Baltimore 31-24 at home. I think it's probably a very fun game to watch. I think you'll see Lamar do his thing. I think you'll see Burrow and Chase do their thing. I know Rashad Bateman's going to play this week. The rumor is, so I'm curious to see what he does for his debut.
Played last week.
Did he play last week?
He did.
Yeah, 4 catches, 29 yards, all 4 were for first downs.
He is well on his way to
there
30
you go.
catches this year.
Oh, stop it. Don't need to knock him anymore.
Imagine if he beats that. He's going to beat that bet only playing like 12 games. I want to hear what Dante says about that.
Jesus.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a very good game. It's definitely one of the be one of the games I'll be looking forward to watching in the airport on Sunday. So, but I'll take
holding up a trophy.
31-24.
Hopefully holding up a trophy, right?
That'd be wonderful.
Dude,
If I'm
you
holding
guys
up a
got
trophy,
the
I'm
team to do
probably
it, man.
hammered in the airport.
You guys have the team to do it.
Do.
All right, so
Put it all together. We'll see what's going on.
all right, so I have the Bengals not winning this game. So first of all, I was wrong about the Bengals last week. I thought Joe Burrow was more injured than what he was. I got to give Cincinnati all the credit in the world. He couldn't talk all week, the whole 9 yards. They beat the shit out of Detroit last week. So 100% wrong there. Joe Burrow, so has been throwing the ball Jamar Chase a ton. Jamar Chase looks incredible. I put that poll up. Who would you rather start your franchise with? I want to ask you guys that question just for fun after I give my analyst on this. I think Baltimore's too good of a football team. I think their defense is better. I think their offense is better. I think their special teams is better. With that being said, I think Baltimore wins the football game. I'll go 29-21, Baltimore Ravens.
29, that's a random number.
They'll go for 2 in second quarter. You know, Harbaugh, he does weird shit. So just for fun, because we brought this up on the podcast, on the Wire2Wire Facebook page, and we got a lot of traction on it. And you posted yours. I want to get yours, Bill, if you don't mind. And I need you to repeat. Oh Jesus, Tiny. Listen, I had an off week. Listen, I'll tell you something right now. When the public does really well in the NFL, are weeks I do not do well. I am not a fan of following the public. Big spreads, big games. I'm always on the plus points. I always like the underdogs. And for a whole season, it normally works out for me. So I'm glad you didn't follow that either. But Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and you can tell me if it changes at all. If you were starting a franchise today, rank them. And who, career-wise, who has a better career? That could be different because mine's different.
Yeah, so if I'm starting my franchise today, I would go Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, then CeeDee Lamb. With those guys, a year ago, if you asked me this question, Jamar Chase is definitely my number 1. After seeing what Justin Jefferson did in his, rookie season, I kind of changed my idea on him. I always thought Justin Jefferson was really good. I didn't think he was better than Jamar Chase. Now, granted, I haven't seen Jamar Chase yet for a full season, but he's well on his way. So you ask me this question again, I might flip-flop it again. But career-wise, I am going to go Chase at 1. I think that connection that he has with Burrow is going to be probably there for a really long time, like 10 or so years if they decide they want to ball together in Cincinnati. So I'll go Chase 1, I'll go Jefferson 2, and then I will have Lamb still at my 3 spot.
So, Chally, what are your thoughts on this?
My list will be the same. I will go for both questions. I'll go Jamar Chase 1, Justin Jefferson 2, and CeeDee Lamb 3. I said it last year during the draft. We talked about all the lead up to it. I think Chase is closer to a generational guy than Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb is. I think size, speed, and to Cottrell's point, he's going to be playing with Joe Burrow for a long, long time. So they're going to grow together. They already have that connection from LSU. I think he's a guy capable of putting up monster numbers year after year. I think he's the next kind of, Denard Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones type guy. I really do. I said that last year. I've been consistent with that since we started talking about it last year, and I haven't seen anything this year to change my mind. So I'll go Chase, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb.
Okay, so it's funny because your list is a lot closer to mine than Cottrell's. I have Jamar. So
we had the same list for generational.
Generational. No, you didn't.
Yeah, we did. I said Jamar, Justin.
I'm talking about so you have Justin 2. He has Justin 2. He has Jamar 1, but I'm talking for ranking them, I can't have Justin Jefferson anywhere near my 1. Nothing against Justin Jefferson. If I'm starting a franchise, I'm going Jamar Chase 1. I'm going Jefferson 2 and CeeDee Lamb 3. Now, however, let me break this point down a little bit more. if I'm ranking how their careers are going to pan out, because this is how they're ultimately going to be judged, is based on their careers. Jamar Chase has Joe Burrow throwing him the ball. CeeDee Lamb is going to be my 2. He has Dak Prescott throwing him the ball. Justin Jefferson this year has Kirk Cousins. Who's it next year? I don't know. It's when Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson played on the same team, it was clear who was the better receiver. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has the same quarterback throwing the ball, and I look at Jamar Chase now, and I see someone that is very Julio-ish, very Megatron-ish. He's the number 1 receiver in the NFL on balls thrown 20 yards or more. The guy is going to be next level. Jamar Chase is just that guy. It's very rare when you run into someone like Julio or Megatron that have a DK Metcalf, that have speed, size, strength, and talent. Jamar Chase has all of those. What'd you say?
I said they're unicorns.
And that's what Jamar Chase is. He's a unicorn. Justin Jefferson, I think, is a better he's a better nothing.
He's a better route runner.
I'm not talking about Chase. I'm talking about CeeDee Lamb. I'm trying to figure out what Justin Jefferson does better than CeeDee Lamb. I was going to say route runner, but CeeDee Lamb's got like a PhD in route running. He does. Like, Justin Jefferson's a good route runner, but CeeDee Lamb is incredible at route running. And, like, as much as I hate the Cowboys, he's special, man. He's got hands unbelievable. He makes ridiculous catches. He breaks away from receivers. And, guys, I as an Eagle fan, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I took a little bit of pleasure watching Nelson Aguilar drop a big ball, and Jalen Mills get, like, burnt toast in that game. And it was just like, I've been saying this for years.
Yes,
guys.
Not my team.
Yes, correct. Like, that's exactly what my thoughts were. So I'm going to go Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Justin Jefferson as far as career spanning. If I was starting a franchise, I'd barely give the edge to Justin Jefferson over CeeDee Lamb. I don't know why. I probably shouldn't. Let me just keep the same list. I'm going to keep the same list.
Here's the one thing I would say you have to watch with CeeDee Lamb, and it's kind of why I'm a little cautious with. You haven't seen really what he is yet as a true number 1. And you're going to see that, I think, in the next year or so once Amari's gone. I think once he becomes the guy that's going to get the 11, 12 targets every game like Chase does, like Jefferson does, I think he's capable of being very special. I know. Me and Gene echoed the same thing when they moved up and drafted him.
Bro, I wanted him so bad. I wanted him so bad. I want to see him so bad.
I think CeeDee Lamb definitely has the ceiling to keep up with, if not past Jefferson. I do believe in that. I do think you've seen kind of close to what Jefferson's ceiling is or what his best season might be. I don't think you've seen that with Lamb yet because he's not a true number 1 yet. And I'm not saying he's not better than Cooper, but as the way that offense is structured, he's not. So I think there's potential there for CeeDee Lamb.
I got CeeDee Lamb's targets up right now because the one thing you brought up was targets. I think he's out-targeting Amari Cooper. I could be wrong. 15, 9, 3, 5, 6, 11. He's got a lot of targets this year, and I feel like he's starting to get more and more comfortable in that offense. I think that he's the number 1 receiver coming out the bye. They're on a bye week this week, and I think that he'll see that number 1 coverage throughout the rest of the season. But I agree with everything that you said, 100%. And I wish that CeeDee Lamb was an Eagle because 100% I wanted him really bad. I would take CeeDee Lamb over Slim Reaper too, like no doubt in my mind.
I would agree with that. I don't know. We just don't know what Slim Reaper is yet, though. I mean,
he looks better and better each week, and I give him credit. I love the kid. I love Devontae Smith.
I think that's the difference in between him and Rager. I think Smith is still not anywhere close to what he could be. A lot of that's play calling, a lot of that's Jalen Hurts. But to your point, you're seeing him get better and better every week. You're seeing the improvement.
Jalen Rager has fallen down.
He's fallen down the goddamn depth chart already.
Yeah, so, Quez Watkins is now the number 2. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. He's getting out snapped. They're starting Rager so Howie Roseman can save face, and then Quez is getting more snaps. It's actually embarrassing. Okay, so next game we go over this week, Chiefs-Titans. Chiefs at Titans, even though it's 2 teams that are 3-3, 4-2. This is the second best game of the week this week. And I'm picking this game, and I'm picking it like not the winner. I'm picking the over-under, but I'll give it away. I don't care. Is the punter going to come on the field? Like, let's ask that question. Will a punter touch the field Sunday in that game? I'm not trying to be a smart ass.
Over under 1 punt? Is that what you're asking?
Like one punt, half a punt.
I'll take the over, but barely. Like I'll be nervous about it.
I think we get 2 punts Sunday in that game.
2?
Yeah,
that's
2.
crazy. That's
probably
you win money in Vegas.
That's probably
plus money.
I say that's plus 180 for 2 punts.
I don't and I hate following like chalk. This is the most chalk pick of all time. I don't know how that stays under 57.5. I don't. That game could be 42-35.
The only like possible outcome I feel like is if the Chiefs, I mean, Derrick Henry's going to run all over them. But
Correct.
If there's not like a big play and it's just like Derrick Henry 8 yards here, Derrick Henry 9 yards here, and it's just like that all game long, then eventually the clock's going to bleed out and they're not going to that's the only way I see it not shooting up to at least 75 points. Like
correct.
But I mean,
Derrick Henry gets shot out of a cannon and go for 75 though. I mean,
bro, he
let's
looked
not act like Kansas City.
Incredible, dude.
Bro, he's just different. I don't know what else to say. He's just different. There's no reason in hell a guy that's that big, that is that strong, should be able to move like he did. And then he was pulling away from those guys. Like, those guys are running after. Like, you got defensive, like, you're talking about all-pro guys, Micah Hyde, like, guys like that. Like, he was pulling away from them 50 yards into the sprint. Like, that's just different, man. It's just different.
I have to bring this up because it's nobody's. You got to be kidding me. It's another one I would have used this week. Is Broussard. No one's using him, right, before I talk about it?
I am not.
Bro, they broke down that quarterback sneak play, and it's the Buffalo Bills running a quarterback sneak. And he goes, well, maybe they didn't get it because they're all-pro left tackle, Taylor Laurent. Yeah. Are you kidding me, bro? You're analyzing football on TV, and you said Buffalo's all-pro left tackle, Taylor Laurent, was hurt and not in the game, and that's why Josh Allen didn't get the quarterback sneak? Are you kidding me? That is brutal. Stick to basketball, bro. NFL's not your sport. Please stop giving comments on football. Like, he gets paid to talk about football. That's terrible.
He's not good at basketball either, for the record.
Chris Cargan wants to know, where's our Sega Whiteside been? He's a great special teams blocker, right?
He's on the milk carton.
They said he's the best blocking wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, we took him.
Yeah.
That's what we needed that year.
Yeah, because it's
most people that want blocking. Right? Most people that want blocking.
Job, Howie.
Oh my God, that was the line right there because they run the ball a ton, right?
Yeah.
Most teams when they want blocking in the draft, they draft linemen. Some even draft a tight end.
Yeah.
The Eagles draft wide receivers. The block.
I'm just glad they
4 times a game.
They decided his blocking skill set outweighed something that, like, DK Metcalf could do for us or something.
Oh man, DK Metcalf. I listen. He didn't pass the physical.
I bet he can't block.
Oh Jesus,
that specimen. I'm sure he can't block.
He's bigger than half the linebackers in the league.
Generational talent. Another one. Passed up for
in our building, dude. Had him in our building.
Passed him up for J-Jaw.
And failed him for a physical.
Jesus.
In our building.
Any Howie supporters still out there?
Can't make it up.
Any Howie supporters still out there?
They're like cockroaches when the lights come on.
Yo, it's getting
even now.
It's going to get even worse when the next 6-7 weeks play out with Carson.
That's a good point too.
That's going to get even worse. I think he might get fired for that. All right, like, let me just break this down because the Colts are going to go into San Francisco and beat them this week. I'm just letting you know that now. So, Jesus, can you knock that off? But they're going to go into San Fran and win that game when they're 7-5, and Carson still has 110 quarterback rating, and the Eagles are like 4-8. We're like, where do you think Howie's job is at that point?
My only rebuttal to that is if he didn't get fired last year, like I don't know how bad it would have to be this year to get fired. Like I really don't. I'm with you. I don't think he should be here, but I'm just saying if the dumpster fire that occurred last year,
that was his scapegoat last year.
I'm with you, dude. I'm not optimistic they're going to do the right thing with that thing. I'm not saying your point's invalid because it's 100% correct. I'm just telling you, I don't know what would have to happen for him to get blatantly outright fired.
Okay.
I have no faith in Jeffrey Lurie to fire him.
I completely agree with you. I think he has naked pictures of somebody somewhere. But let's get into NFL Pick'em. Oh, by the way, no. I just talked about the game. No, Chiefs Titans. What are your thoughts? Jesus Christ! Someone smacked me in the head with something.
Chiefs win. I think it's 5.5 point spread, right? I think the Chiefs cover that. I see the Chiefs winning like 14 points. I feel like the Chiefs. I'm ready for the Chiefs to finally get back on track, and now especially with the Titans, no Christian Fulton, and they just found out that Caleb Farley is going to be out for the season. Their first round corners out for the season with torn ACL. So I think Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and all those guys are going to run all over Tennessee, and they're going to get it rolling.
Guys, if you do FanDuel or DraftKings, like you could probably draft all Titans, all Chiefs, and be fine.
Probably.
Serious. What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Cottrell as well. That was one of my thoughts when I knew we were discussing this game this week. I think this is the week we kind of start seeing Kansas City look like Kansas City. I don't know how much that's going to be. Tennessee's defense is terrible, or how much it's just Kansas City finally getting their shit together on the offensive side of the ball, and people actually catching passes when they're thrown to them. I'm not going to go 14-point swing. I do think they cover, though. I'll go 38-28 Kansas City. I think Tennessee is a little bit of a letdown after that game on Monday. Like it's a big win against Buffalo. So 38-28 Kansas City for me.
I'm picking the game, but I'll also tell you the Chiefs are going to roll and score a lot of points. Let's get into pick 'em. Cottrell, you want to start this week?
Yeah, that's fine. So my first game, we keep digging into Tua, keep digging into him. So I'll dig into him a little bit more. I like the Falcons minus 2.5 at Miami. I really feel like that Falcons team, I mean, as bad as they are, they're going to finally get Calvin Ridley back. Kyle Pitts, they're coming off a bye week as well. And, Kyle Pitts finally emerged while over there in London. So I like the Falcons to win that game. My second pick's the Colts +4 at San Francisco. I do agree with Gene. I feel like Indy's going to go into San Fran, and they're going to give the 49ers everything that they can handle. Carson Wentz has finally gotten a rhythm in that offense. They finally got Jonathan Taylor somewhat established. So I really think that the Colts go in there and get the job done. And then the last game I like is the Panthers -3 at the Giants. So Giants are so banged up. We saw it last week. The Rams blew them out of the water. They haven't had anybody. I think it's going to be more of the same this week with the Panthers. Obviously, the Panthers aren't as high-powered as the Rams, but they have enough power to blow that 3-point spread out the water against the beat-up Giants team.
I like it. I disagree with one game, but not enough to pick the other side, so I like it.
What game?
I think that the Miami Dolphins are going to come back from London and win that football game. I think Atlanta stinks, and I really think Brian Flores is just a better coach, and I think he'll have those guys ready. And I think that it really depends on what the trade talk happens, which is the reason I didn't pick Miami. But I really I don't know. I have a weird feeling I think Miami wins that football game. It's like not a weird feeling when Atlanta sucks. So they both stink. Like I'm rooting for Atlanta to win because I think our pick would be better. But
that's one of those games I just go back to your rule of thumb.
My rule of thumb, I'm breaking
to win your money.
my rule of thumb, I'm breaking this week, but you'll hear that in a minute.
All right. My first game, I'm taking New England -7 at home against the Jets. The Jets stink. I think there's no way Zach Wilson's going to put up a ton of points or move the ball consistently against that defense. I think Bill will have them confused, different coverages. New England is kind of like that weird in between your team where they can hang with the good teams, they beat the bad teams. Jets are a bad football team. They're not good yet. I think Mac Jones is looking better and better every week. I think Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are giving him more and more to put on his plate every week. You started seeing them use tempo last week. They started really moving the ball. So I think you're going to see that more again this week against the Jets. I think New England probably blows the Jets out, but I'll take them -7 at home. The second game we already talked about, Colts +4 at San Fran. I do think they win outright, but I'll take the 4 points. I think the Colts are starting to play like the team that we all thought they were going to be before the season. Jonathan Taylor is starting to get going. They're running everything off the play action game now. Carson's looked great the last 2 weeks. He's throwing the ball well. He's throwing the ball well downfield with accuracy, on time. That defense is starting to stiffen up a little bit. So I will take Indy +4. And then I'm actually going to take the Eagles +3.5 against the Raiders. As bad as the Eagles can look, they can put up points at times. And I think that they will score enough to stay close against the Raiders. The Raiders have kind of gone backwards the last 2 weeks. They're still dealing with the Gruden fallout. So I'll take the Eagles +3.5 on the road in Las Vegas.
I like that pick a lot, actually. I think the Eagles win that game with extra preparation, and I think the letdown after, you knew the Raiders were going to come out and play well versus Denver because that whole week and, like, we're going to come together, band of brothers, and now reality sets in. You know what I mean? Like, now reality sets in. Yep. I think the Eagles go in there and beat them. I agree with you. I think they went outright. But, guys, let me start with mine. I'll start with this one. Last week I was dead wrong on Dan Campbell and the Lions. They got their ass beat. I am going back to that well once again. Jared Goff is going back into L.A. to play his former team. That Lions team, all but last week, has not been blown out any weeks. They've really just kept a lot of games close. I think this is a really bad game for the Rams, coming home after destroying the Giants. And I think that the Lions keep the game close. I'll take them +15. I'm betting on a bad team. Yes, I am. I got the over 57.5 in the Chiefs versus Titans. I think that game could be 49-27 Chiefs. Like, that's how serious I believe. That game's going to be ridiculous. That's a bonus pick, too. I like the Chiefs -5.5. I just can't take them because I have another game I love even more. I have never been so sure that the worst team in football, probably, on everyone's book, is going to cover this week. Never been so sure. Worst team in football is playing the best team in football this week. Everyone and their mother are going to be hammering the Cardinals. 18-point spread. I got the Texans +18, and I'm sure of it. That's a 5-star. I'll give you a 5-star with a team that has one win this year. The Cardinals went into Cleveland and kicked Cleveland's ass. Then they got to go home and play Houston when Houston just got their ass kicked at Indy. Then they have a short week to where they got to play Green Bay on Thursday night. Read into sandwich games. Read into trap games. This is 100% a trap. The Texans +18. They're going to lose the game by 7. They're still going to lose. Don't get me wrong. But it won't be by 18. It won't be by more than 18. I like the Texans +18, and that's my picks for this week. I think this is a 3-0 week for me.
I was debating between that pick and the Eagles for my third, and you nailed all the reasons right on the head. I think Arizona's probably up huge in that game, but like you said, midway through the third quarter, if they're up big, they're yanking everybody.
Yeah, Thursday night
on a short week. Yeah, they got Thursday night at Green Bay. They're going to yank everybody, make sure nobody gets hurt. I think the back door is ripe for that one.
You like the back door?
Sometimes.
Okay. That's our NFL talk this week. We're done NFL at 9:17 because we got a lot of NBA to talk about. We got MLB postseason. By the way, coming back from the dead, my World Series pick, Astros versus Dodgers, after the White Sox lost. Coming back from the dead last night, the Dodgers, but we'll get into MLB shortly. I got a lot to get into NBA. NBA just started last night. If you watched last night, I watched the Milwaukee Bucks play the Brooklyn Nets. I'm cheating 100% by telling you I'm a prisoner of the moment with a lot of these picks because I seen something last night that, to me, is so impressive. I have so much respect for this. You see all-time greats do shit like what I seen last night, and I'll get into that. Last night, the Milwaukee Bucks dog-walked the Brooklyn Nets, shot the ball real well. Giannis was unbelievable. KD and Harden both had decent games, but doesn't matter. Giannis is just that guy. Giannis is something special, and let me tell you how special he is. The guy's been working on his shooting all offseason after winning the NBA Finals. Normally, most games when you watch a team getting their rings, it happened to the Lakers last year, happened to the Warriors a few times. Opening night, they get spanked because they're on that hangover. Milwaukee, it was like Giannis got the ring. He was emotional. He cried, and then it was just like, it's back to business. I want to be even better. There's few players that care about their legacy more than the moment. Giannis is one of those players. Man, that guy is something special. You watched that game last night, you would think Brooklyn would be the team that came out and played really hard to try to prove a point. And Brooklyn got outworked. They got outworked. They got out-hustled. They got out-toughed. Without P.J. Tucker, I thought, the Bucks might not be as tough of a team. It couldn't have been further from the truth. It could not have been further from the truth. The Bucks are for real. Obviously, they won the NBA Finals, but don't put an asterisk next to it because of Kevin Durant, because of Kyrie Irving, because of James Harden. The Bucks look incredible, and I think they're going to be really good all year. I think they'll be the number 1 overall seed this year going into the playoffs. I think they're going to win the most regular season games, and because Giannis has that Mamba mentality, and it's very, very infrequently that you see a player that has that Michael Jordan, that Kobe Bryant. I can't. I love the Bucks this year. Love them. What did you say?
Stirring the pot.
Oh. You mean people actually work? You mean people actually work on their shooting? Shade.
No, I agree. I love the point you made about Giannis, though, and I agree. I think that's something that you look at. Like look at a Kobe, look at an MJ, look at LeBron. They're never satisfied. They're never satisfied, and that's what you have to be great. You have to win something and be like, all right, what do I got to do to win the next one? And some players don't do that. A lot, in the actual majority of players don't do that. And that's one of the things that separates the greats from the goods. So they looked really good. Brooklyn made a couple runs twice to get back in that game, and then Milwaukee turned around and went right back on their own run and pulled away, and that was that. But I mean, we know that's what Brooklyn is. I mean, they're great. They're a collection of very good individuals. They don't always play as a team, but I don't think anybody would ever describe Brooklyn as a tough team ever. So it's I agree. I think Milwaukee's the 1 seed in the East. I think they're the team to beat again. We'll see how the season plays out.
Your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, the Bucks definitely look like, everything that we expected them to, I would say, based off, them being the past champions. Like, that team definitely held it together well. I think it's kind of more of an indictment, too, on the Nets. Like, you were supposed to come out here, fight for everything that you lost last year, especially with Kyrie being out. If anything, that should have been the message between you guys. Like, hey, we can win without Kyrie. Let Kyrie do his own thing. We're going to be still contenders without him. But, I mean, Kevin Durant balled and Patty Mills balled. But outside of that, it was kind of like,
James balled in the first half.
Yeah. First half numbers did look good. But, I mean, Giannis coming out with a near triple-double, 32, 14, and 6 or 7.
Man,
like, that's
stupid good.
That's nuts.
He is stupid
absolutely
good.
Nuts.
Stupid good, bro. I want to get
Giannis is one of those guys too. I just don't know how you don't root for him. I just don't. I mean, I know there's always like people like, oh, they're on a team from like a rival. Like, I don't want to root for him. He's just such a great kid. I just don't know how you can't be. If you love basketball, I don't know how you can't be a fan of him
Bucks
as a
don't
player
have
and as a
real
person.
Rivals.
Well, that's fair.
I get that, and I just don't know how you root against Giannis either. Another thing is you can noticeably tell that man worked on his shooting. Like, noticeably tell that. Like, he splashed a couple threes in preseason walking down the court. He hit one last night. He was only 1 for 4 last night. He wasn't like he was draining threes, but his form looks better. And I think he's going to shoot the ball well from outside. I think that there's no more of them challenging him to shoot threes. They're going to have to play defense on him everywhere. He's so good, man. I want to get into our preseason predictions 2 games into the season. So let's start with 6th man of the year. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna be a prisoner of the moment. The whole joke this offseason was we need Patty Mills to play like he plays for Australia. Patty Mills is 100% what I think is going to be a 6th man of the year playing on that Brooklyn Nets team. I think he's going to come in all year and drain threes and hit open threes and be, the only thing that scares me about Patty Mills is he might end up starting. Patty Mills is my 6th man of the year. Who do you got, Cottrell?
My 6th man of the year is going to be Mr. Former MVP Derrick Rose out of the New York Knicks. I think he's going to be very explosive for that team, especially now that they have, Kemba Walker there. I mean, Kemba's going to be mediocre. He's going to be decent some nights, bad other nights. So I think Derrick Rose we saw it last year. He really thrived in that Thibodeau system. I think he's going to be even better this year. So I'm going with Derrick Rose, my sixth man of the year.
I like it. Shally, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to stay with the guy who won it last year because I think his role is going to expand a little bit. I think one of the only little things I'm kind of maybe worried about is kind of what Gene said with Patty Mills. I think there's a chance Jordan Clarkson might end up starting for Utah, but I'm going to go with Jordan Clarkson. His role is very defined. He comes in and pretty much just lights the world on fire and shoots. He is he's a spark plug kind of guy. He comes in, just hits shots, gets that team going. It allows him not to miss a beat, and he's a good shooter when he's on. He's very hot. So I will stick with Jordan Clarkson to repeat this year.
Okay. Next one I have is Defensive Player of the Year. Shal, you want to start since you went last on the first one?
I hate picking this because I think Ben should have won it last year. Ben's not going to win it this year because who the hell knows what Ben's going to do this year. And then I feel like the default answer probably goes back to Rudy Gobert. I would love to say JoJo could win this or maybe even Giannis. I just don't think JoJo's going to play enough like he normally does with his maintenance days and everything else. And Rudy plays every game, so almost anyway. So I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert to win again. And I hate that pick, so I hope I'm wrong.
Okay. Good throw.
I'm going to go with Anthony Davis. I think he's going to be the defensive anchor for that team. We saw last year the Lakers were better than I thought they would be, at least defensively. And he's going to be the best defender on that team. And, AD is a guy who's very versatile. And I think he's going to get a lot of blocks on that team. So I think if he can stay healthy for the majority of the season, obviously the Lakers are going to be winning a lot of games. I think he's going to be a big part of that. So going with AD for Defensive Player of the Year.
I love that pick. I want to respond to a couple things on the wire line. Chris Cargan said Miles Turner. I think Miles Turner is a good pick for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
And PD said don't sleep on Halliburton for Sixth Man of the Year. The only reason I didn't pick Halliburton for Sixth Man of the Year because I really do like him. I just think he's going to end up starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 20, 30 games in that season, I think they're going to dump.
Traded.
Yep. I really believe that.
Yep.
That's the only reason I didn't pick Halliburton. But for my Defensive Player of the Year, I think JoJo will finish second. I think the Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're talking about a guy last night had 2 more blocks. He's going to have 12 to 16 rebounds every game. He's unbelievable. I'm sorry, I'm a fan. I want to buy a jersey. I got to learn how to spell his name first. But after I learn how to spell his name, I'm buying a jersey. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
So never.
Pretty much. I'll start off next because I want to get this one out first. Control will give you a little bit more. Control will give you a little bit more stats on the guy. I love him. I think he's awesome. My most improved player this year is going to be Kevin Porter Jr. of the Houston Rockets. I think he looks good. Last year he averaged 16.5. He's just improving every year. He's 21 years old, young kid, and I think that on that Houston team he'll get every opportunity to shine. Him, Christian Wood, your guy, I forget his name, Jalen Green. That team is just a young. They remind me a lot like the Oklahoma City Thunder when they were first coming up with all that young talent. Mm-hmm. But my most improved player is Kevin Porter Jr.
So I'm piggybacking off that. I'm also going Kevin Porter Jr. So the funny thing about that is that Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green and then another guy who's on the Rockets bench they picked up in the second round, Josh Christopher, they all played AAU high school basketball together. So, they've been teammates before. I think they're going to have great chemistry. The thing with Kevin Porter Jr. is he has superstar written all over him. He's just a troubled kid. He just stays in trouble, which is why he fell so late in the first round to the Cavs, which is also why the Cavs traded him. He's just always finding his way into trouble. But I think if he keeps his head down, puts in the work, he has all the talent in the world to average 22 points a game this year. So I'm also rolling with Kevin Porter Jr. as my most improved.
Shally.
Gene, I love the OKC analogy. I think Houston's a team that isn't probably going to win a lot of games this year, but they're going to be very exciting to watch. Very exciting. And if they can keep that core together and continue to draft around them, that's a team in probably another year or so could be really, really, really good. But my pick, I almost took him, but I switched. This was the last one I picked today. I'm going with Jordan Poole, Golden State. I think he's going to have every opportunity to shine there. He is a Michigan guy, so I'm a little bit biased. But he's continuing to improve. He played a lot last year. He played in both the playoff games and played well. Clay is not going to, have the workload that he normally does, when he comes back and he's ready. I think he's kind of like he's not going to be a superstar, but he's going to be a guy that's going to give you 18 off the bench, and I think he takes that next big jump this year. So I think he has a shot to win the award.
So the reason I'm glad you brought up Klay Thompson, because the reason I didn't pick him for the award was because of Klay Thompson. I love him. He's got ice water in his veins. Jordan Poole, I think he's got a long NBA career ahead of him. You have an ice water vein shooter, kid that can move, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that Michigan Wolverine.
And although he's from Michigan, the interesting story about Jordan Poole is like his journey to the NBA. So him being in the G League for as long as he was, and then him being the last roster spot on the Warriors. Like he essentially, he was great at Michigan, but it's a kind of an against all odds things. He wasn't this lottery pick, coming out of school, and he's just worked and earned his position. So got to give the kid all the credit in the world.
Look at you giving Wolverines credit. I like it.
I mean, yeah, he's gone now, so.
I'm going to spin it right back to you, Chally. Coach of the year.
All right. Coach of the year. All right. I'm going to go with Eric Spoelstra from Miami Heat. I think they are going to be a top 3 seed in the East this year. I think with the addition of Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, a couple of other moves they made, I think they're going to take a jump this year. They're going to have Jimmy. If Jimmy stays healthy all year, then you're going to be a very good team. Very good team. They're going to be tough. And I want to say I took him, I don't want to say strictly out of other options, but I mean, I think there's a lot of the big names, like they'd have to do their teams have to do something crazy for them to win the award. I mean, Brooklyn's going to win 55 games. Like, I don't think that qualifies Steve Nash to win the award. The Milwaukee Bucks are the defending champs. Like, I think it's going to be, I think for a lot of the coaches of the really good teams, I think it's going to be really hard for them to win. I think Miami Heat are going to take a jump. So I'll go with Eric Spoelstra.
So first of all, Chally, let me just compliment you. I don't know if you need to be in Florida more often, but man, your takes tonight have been fucking fire, dude. Love it. I love Eric Spoelstra. It's a great pick.
I'll stay here.
Here you go.
Yes, sir. We're doing a round table. Come on, brother.
So my coach of the year pick, Charlotte Hornets coach, James Borrego. I really feel like he's going to have the Charlotte Hornets in the playoffs, and I think that they can get a 4, maybe a 5 seed in the East this year. Those guys just play well together. Obviously, LaMelo Ball is the leader of that team, but I think it's going to be a similar situation to how we saw with Tibbs winning the award last year. Like, you don't have to have the number 1 seed to win it. I just feel like he's going to help get these young guys to the next level, and the Charlotte Hornets are going to be a tough out this year. LaMelo Ball, time for his next step. So, James Bouknight, I think they're going to be really, really good this year.
So
back up your pick there. Charlotte just hit 2 free throws that go up 123, 122 with 4 seconds to go. So, they might win. They might be 1-0.
So throw up Chris Cargan's comment, by the way. I think this was hilarious. He said, the Bulls head coach, which is Billy Donovan. I disagree. I think Billy Donovan's done nothing to show that he's a good coach in the NBA. Nothing against him. I feel like he's done nothing but lose in the NBA. So that would not be my pick. I understand why you're doing it. You have a whole new rebuilt franchise, and you take that team from nothing to something. I think they're going to start really slow. I don't think they're going to be that good of a team until midseason when they start gelling together. Lonzo, DeRozan, obviously Zach LaVine. But I think that I don't think they can win that. The person I'm picking for Coach of the Year this year is a guy that I think will be the number 1 seed in the West.
Mm-hmm.
And Chally should find this no surprise because he's been on this team before any of us have.
He's on all their teams.
No, he's been
I'm saying
on,
like all the city.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets. I think that Mike Malone is going to have that team be the number 1 seed this year. I think they got a lot to prove. I think they got a deep team. I think Michael Porter Jr. takes another step forward this year. You got Nikola Jokic. You're eventually going to get Jamal Murray back, hopefully midseason. You got Aaron Carter. I'm kidding. Aaron Gordon. They got a team of really good two-way players. And I really truly believe that the Denver Nuggets take a big stride forward this year. And I think they're really, really tough out in the Western Conference. But for being the number 1 seed, number 1 seeds in the West are almost always try-hard teams. I hate saying it that way. Last year was Utah. This year is going to be Denver. It's going to be a try-hard team that's going to win a lot of basketball games in the grit of January and February when teams are resting players. This team just got 4 or 5 superstars. They can keep playing people. So, I got Mike Malone as my coach of the year. And my MVP, I got 2. What I did was I did a dark horse because I don't like the odds for MVP. My number 1 for MVP, the person I think that will win the award, is Giannis Antetokounmpo at 8-1, 7-1, wherever you want to find him. I don't like picking favorites. He's a top 3 or 4 favorite. Luka's the favorite. Then it's Giannis, JoJo, and Steph, however you want to rank them, depending on what website you're on. I like a guy that's rolling off between plus 1,800 and plus 2,200, and it's James Harden. I think James Harden has got a lot to prove, and with Kyrie Irving not playing a lot of games, I think his stats are going to be very, very inflated. He, when he's running point for that team, he's either scoring or he's assisting on almost every play. I think he's going to average 25 and 12 this year. So if he does that, 28 and 12, 25 and 12, and the Brooklyn Nets win 60 games, I think he has a really good chance to win MVP, and his odds say that.
So my MVP favorite, I'm going to go with Steph Curry. So for a lot of the reasons why you just said with James Harden, I feel like Steph's numbers are going to be inflated until Klay Thompson comes back. And then once Klay comes back, they're actually going to start – I mean, I think they can win some games without Klay, but once Klay actually comes back, they're going to start winning even more games. So I really think that Steph has a really good chance of replicating his year from last year. And if the Warriors had a better record last year, I think he's right in the mix with Nikola and giving him a run for his money for the MVP award.
He wins it. If they're a top 5 seed, top 4 seed last year, he wins the award.
I don't disagree with you at all. So I think he's going to replicate that kind of season. They get Klay back. They're going to be a team to beat in the Western Conference once Klay's back, especially if they can get their rookies on board. You know, they got Kuminga, they got Moses Moody on the bench, and then Jordan Poole. If he is what we think he can be, you know, potential most improved player of the year, that team's going to be a tough out. So I really like Steph as the leader of that team.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. Your pick, shall we?
I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. I think, you know, to kind of Cottrell's point, I think Kyrie out is just going to give, you know, both him and James more of an opportunity to do what they do. I think if Durant stays healthy for the whole year, you're going to see the same guy you saw in the playoffs last year carrying that team. I know me and Gene had a conversation about it. And we kind of both said the same thing when we were watching those games. And we were just like, he's the best player on the planet when he's right. And if he's right, I think that's what you're going to get this year. I don't know how much they're going to rest him. That's my only concern. If he's got to stay healthy, and if they are, you know, running away with the 1 seed, I think you're going to see them rest him a lot because they know they don't have Kyrie as well. So I think there'll be a lot of games down the stretch where you don't have him and James in the same game. But I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. I think he showed it again last year. He's just the best player on the planet, in my opinion, when he's right. So I think he comes back with a great year this year, and I think he wins MVP.
He's the second best player on the planet. I agree with you, though. I think there's nobody that can take over a game like Giannis, the best player on the planet. I'm sorry. He's just listen, funny, I get it.
We keep saying like prisoner of the moment, but like
I'm a prisoner of the moment right now. I like watching his finals last year, and then, dude, I'm telling you right now, it floored me how he came out last night. I'm not kidding when I tell you this. It was like they came out and they had just lost the finals, and it was just like, I need to win a finals. Like
my thing though is that
I love him, dude.
Like, yes, you know, they won the game. KD had what 32.
Yeah. And his shot just as good, 13, 25.
Even in his like last game, in that game 7 against the Bucks, like was playing out of his mind. Like, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see. This is going to be a dynamic that just goes back and forth all season long, and I think we're going to get a repeat of that matchup, probably either Eastern semis or Eastern Conference Finals.
Eastern Finals. They're the best 2 teams in the
Sorry. Something crazy would have to happen for that not to be the Eastern Conference Finals. Are we not doing rookie of the year?
That's what exactly we're doing next. Rookie of the year.
Okay.
Give me your rookie of the year.
I'm going with Cade Cunningham. I think he's going to have the opportunities. He's going to play more than every other rookie. He's going to have the ball in his hands. For lack of a better term, I think they're just going to tell him to go out and play and do his thing. So I think he's going to put the most impressive numbers up. He's going to have the most opportunities to shine. So I'm going with Cade Cunningham, and they're going to be an awful team. So it's really going to be his show. So I don't think I think he is an NBA game fit game. Sorry. So I'll go with Cade Cunningham.
Thought about going with Cade. I just don't.
Gotta know his best play. Dude, if
absolutely.
you do not, you're doing it right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thought about going with Cade, but him the way he is right now, like I just don't know. He has this weird injury. They haven't really given too much on it. I just don't know when he comes back. I think it could be a very similar situation to what we had with LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. I think it's going to be a really tight race. But I'm going with Jalen Green. Jalen Green is going to be an absolute animal with the Houston Rockets. I think it's the same kind of idea between him and Kevin Porter Jr. They're just going to give him the ball and say, go play good basketball. We know we're not going to win, but in the meantime, guys, go out there and get some buckets. So I'm rolling with Jalen Green for that one.
I like it. So I guess we'll all go all 3 different people. I'm going with my man crush out of this draft, the guy that I loved in college and the guy that I'm going to continue to love. It's starting point guard for the Orlando Magic, Jalen Suggs. Give me Suggs, man. I think Suggs is the guy. I think he's going to have every opportunity to shine, just like the other 2 will.
Mm-hmm.
And he's such a smart player, man. I love watching him play basketball.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I almost thought you were on board. I thought you were going to go with Off Night. Like, I almost thought, like, we got you there.
I love Off Night, bro. It's the best nickname ever. And he looks just as good in the NBA as he looked in college.
He did, yeah, absolutely.
I think he's going to be great, which is why I thought, and we're going to get right in that topic right now, is Ben Simmons. But why I thought Ben Simmons to Sacramento is a perfect fit. You can build your team around that type of defense.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to talk about Ben Simmons. That's, and then we'll get into
Would it be our show if we didn't talk about Ben Simmons?
No, but this is this is national news, #1 topic in the entire world. No. We got people listening to the show just to hear. Mike's mom is listening to our show just to hear our thoughts on Ben Simmons. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke. Shout out to Mike's mom. So if you've been under a rock and you haven't been following it all, Ben Simmons was sent home from 76ers practice.
That's going to be a big blow for you.
Jesus, come on, Mike. But I'm kidding. But if he has he gets sent home from Sixers practice because he has first day his cell phone in his pocket. He's not trying. He's got sweatpants on. Second day, Doc asks him to get in a drill. And listen, guys, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows somebody. We all know somebody, okay? The way they're reporting is Doc asked him to get into a drill. He's like, hey, I need you to get in a defensive drill. And he said no. He goes, no, Ben, need you to get in this drill. And Ben said no. He's like, well, then you might as well go home. And then Ben dropped the basketball and went home. That's a very, very, very PG-13 way. I am friends with a couple Sixers beat writers, couple Sixers reporters. I've been in for years. I'm not going to mention their website because they don't pay me, but in years I've been messaging these guys in this 76ers group, and there's a lot more expletives in that conversation that are being let out. Doc said, Ben, in. Ben shook his head no. Then Doc said again, he goes, Ben, in the drill. And Ben goes, nah, I'm good, and kind of turned his head on him. Doc said, then get the fuck off my court. The fuck out of here, and send him out of practice. From what Kendrick Perkins reported earlier, and I'm not a big Kendrick guy, but he's been pretty spot on the Ben Simmons reporting. What he reported earlier is Doc actually went into that practice looking for a fight. He reported of a time that when Rajon Rondo was testing Doc in practice once and Doc tried to put hands on him. And I'm going to re-repeat that. I really think that Doc Rivers set him up to get in an argument or get in a fight with him. A lot of reports are coming out when Doc went to talk to Doc, and Daryl Morey went to talk to Ben Simmons and his agent, and he said, it's in your fucking contract. Doc hates this guy. Can't stand him. And you're not going to change my mind. Joel hates the guy. Can't stand him. Joel's never liked the guy. And you're never going to... Joel blames Ben for Jimmy being gone. I am so tied into this situation. Listen to me at home. Ben Simmons is so tough to trade because so many players in the league hate him. I got to give a shout out to the guy that I sent a report, and Mike, I'm going to send you something while they're talking, and if you could just put it up on the screen. It's just a quick report, and I want to go over it. So I'm going to go to Cottrell to get his thoughts on it before I go to Shally, why I'm sending this to Mike.
I mean, it is, at this point, it is what it is. Like, of course, Ben, it's soft. You go into practice. Well, first you have this big holdout, and then you finally give up on it, and then you go into practice, phone in your pocket, and then you don't want to get any drills. It's like, yes, essentially you pulled a Marshawn Lynch. You're like, I'm here so I don't get fined. So, I mean, I don't know how this situation gets resolved. It's like you suspend Ben for the first game of the year. He comes back. Okay, what is he going to play game 2? And then even after that, it's like, Joel is saying, I don't really know about that guy. Like, when he's here, whatever. If he's not here, whatever. You got Danny Green coming out with stuff. And I'm not saying these guys are wrong for what they're saying, but you just got a team that from outside of Ben Simmons, it seems like the Sixers team is a tight-knit group, and they thrive off of playing with each other. And then you just throw Ben into the mix, and it's just chaos essentially. So, I mean, I feel like at this point, just move the guy. Like, I feel like, yes, there's people around the league who don't want to play with him, but you have to come off this hard stance that you could still get 4 first-round picks and 2 quality players for him. I'm not saying move him for nothing, but I'm not buying this idea that you can't get. There's no trade offers on the table for Ben Simmons right now that are quality offers.
I would sit him for 40 games until the trade deadline. The Sixers are going to make the playoffs without Ben Simmons, okay? They're going to make the playoffs without Ben Simmons. They'll be just 6 seeds, 7 seeds, 5. I don't care. They're going to make the playoffs without Ben Simmons. I would sit him for 40 games. I want to fuck with him like he's fucking with us. I'm not kidding when I tell you this, man. I think Daryl Morey, and you guys can argue, he should have been traded earlier in the offseason, and I will agree with that. But at this point, he's trying to sabotage his trade value intentionally. And I'm telling you right now, I would. You want to be that way? Just sit on the bench. We'll waste the prime of your career. I do not care. And I'm telling you right now, that's 100% the way I feel. And I can't stand the fact that he thinks he can get away with shit like this. Dude, he is setting himself up for the worst. And you want to talk about how bad Philly fans are. He does not want to be in that. He does not want to be in that arena. Dude, I'm telling you right now, listen to me. He does not want to be in that arena. If I was him, I'd be scared. I'm telling you that. I mean that. I don't mean it. I'm not going to throw a bottle at him. I'm not going to do any of that shit. I don't advise doing any of that shit. I'm telling you, bro. I'm from Philadelphia. You do not want to be in that arena right now. Shally, your thoughts?
This is like, it's like the never-ending cat fight. The problem with it now is, we've talked about this ad nausea about whose fault it was at the beginning, and from taking my emotions out of it as a Sixers fan, as a Philly fan, I thought Morey and Doc played a part in the beginning, but I've been pretty consistent with since then. It's getting harder and harder to. I mean, I'm not going to do it anymore either, but I just really don't know how anybody could stand up for Ben at this point. He doesn't want to be here, which is fine. The problem, the really shitty part is it's putting us in a position is, as much as I would love to do what you want to do, G, and sit him, You can't because I mean he's in essence ruining what we have as a core here in our championship chances. You can't have $40 million sitting on the bench. You got to move him. If there's one criticism, we already brought it up. I think Morey way overplayed his hand at the beginning of this, like way overplayed his hands. I think if everything was amicable and he just wanted to change his scenery, he was never getting 4-1s in a starting player. That was never happening. Ben's just not that good. I think he is a very talented player that brings certain attributes that a lot of other guys don't have, but he's not a superstar in the common definition. He's not a Joe Embiid. He's not, a Jokic. He's not a Luka Doncic. He's not that type of guy. He's not a scorer, and those are the type of players you can get 4-1s and a star for. Ben Simmons is not, and I think Daryl Morey is way too smart for that, and I think he really dropped the ball with this at the beginning. And it all started with Doc, Doc saying, I don't know if I can win a championship with him. Well, if Doc Rivers says that, and he's a guy that has already won a championship, and, to your point, Gene, I think there's no illusion that Doc does not like Ben at this point. That's kind of what started us down this path. But ever since then, Ben has done everything in his power to completely screw this up and mess with the Sixers. And I really do believe he's sabotaging his own career. I mean, I don't think if you're a team that ends up trading for him, you're going to have a locker room full of guys that are excited for Ben Simmons to come into the locker room. And I think he's going to find it really hard, man, wherever he ends up going. He's digging a hole that I don't know if he's mentally capable of getting himself out of. And that's not even in this city. And I do agree, if he gets traded, I fully expect him to not play in this arena when his team comes here. I truly believe, as Gene does, that he is not he doesn't have the balls to do it. He's not mentally tough enough to step on that court and play 40 minutes of high level basketball with 19,000 savages yelling at him for 3 hours. It's just not going to happen. So it's my thing is, I don't want it to affect this season. I want it to be done. Kind of Cottrell's point, there's got to be something decent that you can just, wake up and be like, you know what, we got to move on. Like, we're just going to have to live with this trade and make the trade and get it done and get him out of here. It's going to continue to be a circus, and it's going to continue to be a distraction every single day until he's gone. And you could see it with Denny Green and Toby and even JoJo. They just don't want to talk about it anymore. And the way this media is in this city, they're going to be asked about it every single day until he's gone. He's got to be gone. Either that, or I'm not even saying, if you are going to take the stance, if you're going to put him on the bench and pay him to not play, then at that point, don't have him show up. He's got to be away from the team. You can't have that toxic crap at practice. You can't have Doc Rivers coming into practice every day in a shitty mood and trying to start a fight with a player. He's just got to be gone. And literally just pay him to stay home until you can trade him. So,
fair point. Bill, you gave a lot of really, really good points. I'm not giving in and giving him away for like a second-round draft pick and a rotational role player. I'm just not doing it.
You can't do that, but I'm just saying, like, I agree with Cottrell said. I think there's a decent out there, like, hey, we'll give you like 2 1s and like a decent player. And if that's there, you know what? I think you have to take it to move on. I really do.
I don't disagree with you. Bill, Mike, Jesus. Mike, I sent you a picture on Facebook Messenger. Do you have it up? All right, so I want to read this to you. This is a March 2016 draft report for Ben Simmons. And I got to give this guy, Jonathan Giovanni, he's got to give him all the credit in the world. Simmons' lack of competitiveness in crucial games has raised questions about his character. Those who know him best say he needs things to revolve around him on and off the court, and that he's often been closed-minded to coaching or instruction. That was written before the 76ers drafted him. That's terrible, dude. Like, and that goes to show how awful. Listen, I get it. He was unicorn. It's what he is. He's a guy that can defend 4 positions. Athletic, 6'10", handles the ball well, great court vision. What are your thoughts on that report?
I mean, those kind of reports happen with pretty much every player, so I don't really buy too much into it. I mean, yes, that's great because he was spot on right there, but I mean, on the flip side of it, you have reports like that coming out about guys like not obviously to that extent, but you have guys that knock players like Steph Curry. Like we talked about Steph's scouting report when he was coming out of Davidson. So you're always going to have guys who see, the diamonds in the rough, and then you're going to have guys who they just completely miss on a prospect. So this guy, give him credit, he was spot on here, but I don't buy too much into this as a whole.
Your thoughts, Bill? Because it's spot on.
It is.
I mean, I think
I'd
it's
hire
telling
that
now
guy to
because
scout my team. I would hire him right now. He'd be like my head scout right tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to see what he said about like other players.
You know, I'm being Gino.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. To Cottrell's point, he's probably written 1,000 of these that are completely off the mark. This one just rings true because it's spot on the way it's looking like it's going to be played out. I mean, he doesn't want to be here, man. He put his house up for sale in Jersey. So I mean, again, that doesn't sound like anybody that's trying to stay here and work anything out.
Did you see the fact his gamer room where he has like Simmons, Simbo Savage? You're not a savage. You're the first thing from a savage. You're that dork online that like thinks he's tough. Oh God, I hate him so much, dude. Bill, we'll talk about it more each week as it goes on. I got to get in MLB playoffs, and then you got to be kidding me. So let's. I mean, MLB playoffs shouldn't be too long this week because they've been awesome. But one thing I just need to make clear: the Dodgers are done, dude. They're done. I can't believe it. The best team in baseball, they're done. The Braves are going to the World Series. Mark it down, dude.
So you said this yesterday, and then
what
happened?
They're done. They're done.
Bellinger hit a 3-run home run. Like, not so fast. That's saying it happens tonight. They're 5-0, bottom of the fifth, but I don't know. That Dodgers team is too. If anybody can reel off 3 straight games, it's going to be that Dodgers team. So I don't want to say
only thing I'll say
it's
is
definitely tough though.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one key point to remember. Atlanta was up on them 3-1 last year, and Dodgers came back and then went on to win the World Series. So I'm not saying Lightning's going to strike twice. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying Lightning's going to strike twice, but they've been in that situation before. And if anybody has a talent to just go out and just dominate 3 wins in a row, it's that lineup, man. I mean, it's disgusting. But I mean, Atlanta's done real well so far with keeping them pretty much under control, and they're hitting the Dodgers pitching, which is not what I thought was going to happen.
And just to kind of go a little bit further into it, the Houston I'm going to get into Dodgers for a second. The Houston Astros were like 1/2 inning away from being done, and now they're in the driver's seat. They're up 3-2 now, going into game 6 and 7 in their building.
Man, I feel like the midnight clock finally struck midnight for Boston. I'm shocked they got this far.
The 8th inning of game 4 did.
Yeah.
The 8th inning of game 4. That's what it was.
Yeah. We were all watching it here last night. It was crazy. It was just hit after hit after hit after hit.
That was the
umpire missed a really bad call on a 3rd strike, and it's just one of those things that always happens in baseball. Gave the batter an extra strike. Guy hits a double. 4 or 5 hits later, Boston's down 6 runs.
Yeah, but the little Altuve hitting that 400-foot home run last night was the turning point. I think. Listen, I'm not trying. It sounds funny, right? But I don't think I think if it's 2-1 going in the 9th inning, Houston's gripping the bat a little bit differently. I don't think they score any runs.
Of course.
I think Altuve hitting that home run in the 8th is the biggest hit of the game by far. And then when we're talking about the Dodgers being done, guys, I cannot think of how poorly the Dodgers have been managed this postseason. To me, they're ruining Julio Urias this postseason. He's pitched like every game. Like he's in the bullpen one game. He started tonight on 3 days rest. Of course, he got shelled.
Right.
They're ruining that.
I feel like and granted, it feels like Bauer's been out for so long, but I feel like once Bauer went out, that going into the season, they had a full, plan of what they wanted to do in the playoffs. Then they got Max Scherzer, and they just haven't been able to put that together.
Bro, that's bullshit. They got not to be smart ass, but they got Max Scherzer because Bauer was out. They weren't adding Max Scherzer
to line up with Bauer. No, I 100% understand that. But I mean, even to that though, like Max Scherzer played the games that he pitches well, they lose. So it's just been the Dodgers bats don't come alive, and then they get blew out, and then I shouldn't say they get blew out, but they lose the tight matchups where their pitching is actually solid, but they can't get any runs on the board. You see tonight, Braves got 5 runs up, and Dodgers haven't scored any. So as great as that lineup is, it's crazy to see that they just aren't hitting when they need to.
We gotta get to You Gotta Be Kidding Me, but one final comments for baseball I want to just bring up is the Braves are going to play the Astros. And next week when we're talking about the World Series, it's going to be Brave Astros. These series are over. They are. They're done.
Cooked.
I could be wrong. Hopefully I am. The only team I can root for in this postseason right now is the Dodgers. And I got to give all the credit in the world to Johnny Bracero. Number one of our first shows. Well, not our first shows. Our first show talking about baseball. He said the Astros are going to win the World Series. Solid pick. Second thing he said, that was when I was in DR. Second thing he just said was one of the most underrated moves this season was that when the Braves went out and got Eddie Rosario. And I completely agree with him. So Johnny Bracero giving the baseball takes. Always giving us awesome takes on baseball. So thank you very much for the comments. Cody Runner said you got a team meeting in 2 minutes, so we got to do. You got to be kidding me. I'm kidding, but
I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I said Atlanta had 2 very sneaky pickups at the trade deadline with Eddie Rosario and Jorge Soler. I still didn't think this was happening, so I'm not taking that much credit for it. But I mean, they're a solid team. I mean, the Dodgers just aren't playing well.
All right, so let's get into You Got to Be Kidding Me this week. Bill, since you're remote, go first. I know you always go first. Control, yell at me.
Hey, it's a new year. Maybe we change some things up.
I'm going to pile on this. I didn't think we were going to talk about it as much on the show, so I've kind of really covered it how I feel about it. I was going to use Ben. I was probably one of the last people in the area that I don't want to say stuck up for him, but kind of understood his position at least, and I don't anymore. I want you gone. I want you out of the city. I want you off this team. You're becoming a cancer. You're a poison. You're too soft to play in the city. The one thing I will say that I will defend to the death is when we have players that are special here that understand what it takes to play in the city, those are the players that are never forgotten in the city. Ben Simmons is not one of those guys. He's not going to be one of those guys. You're too soft to play here. And you had a fan base that 2 years ago loved you, literally. You and JoJo couldn't do anything wrong. But JoJo gets us and you don't. I don't want to say I wish you well because I'd probably be lying. I hope you go somewhere, and I hope you're happier playing somewhere else. But I just hope one day you grow up and you have the balls to step foot on the Wells Fargo Arena floor again and get what you got coming to you. So for this week, Ben, continue to be a baby. I'm going to keep it short. That's my You Got to Be Kidding Me.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Thank you. Bill, I'm telling you, I need Florida Bill every week, dude. This has been my favorite Shallcross show of all time. Cottrell, go ahead.
All right, so mine this week.
We might have, before Cottrell goes, we might have jinxed it again.
What do you mean?
No.
It's 5-2. 5-2.
I hope I did jinx it. I want the freaking Braves to lose so bad. Go ahead, Cottrell.
Mookie's up with a guy on.
Let's go.
Oh, boy. So mine this week is another guy who I've got on before. Paulo Costa. So Paulo Costa, for the second fight in a row for him, won't be able to fight. Last time, if you guys don't remember, he had his cosmetic surgery and missed his fight. And then the fight before that against Izzy, where he got completely destroyed, he said that he had been drinking wine and he got too drunk the night before. So now it's time for Paulo Costa, the number 2 middleweight in the UFC, to go up against Martin Vettori, the guy who just lost to Israel Adesanya. So you figure, Paulo, you win this fight, maybe you actually get a rematch. But no, Paulo decides to completely not train for the fight, and he is 211, and he's supposed to be down to 185 by Saturday. So he goes to his press conference, and he basically says, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make weight for this one. If Marvin still wants to fight me, maybe we could fight at a catch weight like 195. So for a guy to be the number 2 contender and literally just one fight removed from the championship, a championship fight, what are you doing? Do you just not care about your career at this point? Like, you were literally, obviously Whitaker is next up, but You were literally next in line right after Whitaker to get a shot at the champion, and you just want to blow it because you don't care. So I don't understand what you don't get. I don't understand if you just think that you're just so special that Dana's not going to cut you, but your career at this point is on thin ice. Dana is not going to put up with this for too much longer. So Paulo Costa for being 211 and missing weight for the second, essentially missing your second fight in a row.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Mike, don't put the video up yet, but I need the video right now. But don't put it up yet. So quick trigger on that. You got to be kidding me. These were all the ones that I had that were runners up. Ben Simmons again.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Jamal Adams for, if you've seen it on Sunday Night Football, I'm the best in the world. I'm the best safety in the world. And then the PFF ranking of 62 out of 84 came up right below him, which is kind of pathetic. But I heard that he might have been doing it as a tribute for a guy that died in 2020, so he's off the hook. Chris Broussard for the comment with Taylor Lewan.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
If you didn't see it, the Browns completely got hosed. They were going to win the game regardless, but completely got hosed on a roughing the passer. It was absolutely brutal. It was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Stop calling these ticky-tack personal fouls.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
This one's just too good. Division 3, you can throw the video up now. Don't play it. Well, it might play right away. It doesn't matter. Division 3. Yeah, this is it. Division 3, the game's 24-23. 9 seconds left. And two schools, I have no idea. But one school's down 24-23. And they're coming up to the line at the 14-yard line to spike the ball, stop the clock, and kick the game-winning field goal. Roll it.
And then they're going to try for the field goal attempt here. So, what did he do? He just took a knee. He took a knee, and the clock is rolling.
That's incredible.
He completely brain farted on that one. The clock is at 0, and La Crosse is going to escape Platteville with a 24-23 victory. He's waiting for it to get down, and then they're
La Crosse escapes Platteville with a 24-23 victory. He kneeled the ball instead of spiking it. Complete brain fart. We've seen Kirk Cousins do this years ago at halftime. But to win a game, man, I couldn't imagine being that quarterback all week after being the entire reason your team lost the game. So for that reason.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
My final thoughts this week are I really want to wish the guys at Rake Baseball Academy all the luck in the world, all the skill. They're a very skilled group. They're down in Florida for Worlds, and I know those guys are going to come out and win a bunch of games. There's just too much talent, too many good people in that lineup. A lot of hitters. I think Bill's put together a phenomenal team. A lot of really good hitters, a lot of really good team guys that will do anything to win. I play ball with 5 of them. I obviously play against a bunch of them. So I want to wish them the best worlds they can possibly have. So there are my final thoughts.
Thanks, bud.
Cottrell, anything final?
So just giving you a little update about the Appalachian State Coastal Carolina game. It is 27-27. Appalachian State just scored. I'm assuming the extra point is pending for Appalachian State to go up in that one. So keep your eye on it for the fourth quarter coming up.
Coastal will still win. Any final thoughts, Bill?
No, I'm good, guys. Be excited to be back next week, but I got some business to take care of the next couple of days. So
yeah, good luck,
I
Bill.
appreciate all the well wishes. Anybody who wants to watch or follow us, I will put the link up so you guys can watch it. Just uSSA.com. I think it's like $4 to stream it if you want to use theirs. And we're on Red Marucci tomorrow at 10:30. That's our first game. So I'll be updating Facebook and everything as we go, where we're going, what time we play. So any support from anybody, we always have people follow along us, watch us. So just know that we see all the comments, we see all the likes, we see all the shares. So we do appreciate everybody at home watching us and rooting us on. So we do appreciate it, and I thank you ahead of time.
We'll be rooting you guys on, and for that, with show 54, Wire2Wire, we are signing out.